Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's session on mental flexibility. So, as we know, change is constant, and the way we respond to it impacts our resilience, our well being, and our ability to navigate challenges. Mental flexibility allows us to adapt, to problem solve, and shift our thinking when faced with uncertainty. So, we are the Washington State EAP, and we welcome you to the fourth session of our March 2025 Wellness Wednesday series. In this section, we are going to explore what mental flexibility is and why it matters. We're also going to look at how rigid thinking can create obstacles, and then we'll look at some techniques to help shift perspectives and strengthen our adaptability. So, our hope is that by the end of this session, you'll have practical tools to become more adaptable in your personal and professional life. So, what is mental flexibility? Mental flexibility is the ability to shift perspectives when situations change. It's what allows us to navigate new challenges, to creatively problem solve, and even bounce back from unexpected setbacks. So think about a time when you've had to adjust your approach. Maybe a project at work didn't go as planned, or you had to shift a personal goal. How did you handle those changes? When we reflect on the things that we've done and we realize that we might lack some mental flexibility, we tend to find that we cling to old ways of thinking. So it makes it harder for us to adapt. However, the good news is that is a skill we can strengthen, and today we're going to explore how. And first, we're going to start by focusing on rigid thinking. Um, Rigid thinking typically comes from cognitive distortions. So those are those automatic patterns of thinking that limit our possibilities. There are two very common ones, such as black and white thinking, where we see a situation as all good or all bad. If you want to think of an example of that, it's something like if I didn't succeed on the first try, I'm a failure, so I won't try it again. And then catastrophizing. This is that all or nothing thinking of, expecting the worst case scenario in all situations. So if I make a mistake, everyone's going to think I'm incompetent and I'll get fired. We tend to resort to these two types of thinking, and these patterns make adapting to change more difficult. So as we kind of move through this, and as you start examining the way that you think and noticing your own rigid thinking patterns, it's really helpful to pause and ask yourself, what's another way to look at this situation? What's the most realistic outcome rather than the worst case scenario? Basically, we want to start learning how to reframe those rigid thoughts because we want to open the door to new possibilities and solutions. And one of the ways we can do that is through a technique called the yes and method. This is a great technique for practicing mental flexibility. It is actually from improv comedy. So if you're not familiar with that, we will watch a video on that in a minute. But what this means is that when faced with an unexpected challenge, our instinct might be to reject it outright with no, but. So, for example, hey, we've got this new change coming up. This is what's involved with it. How do you think it's gonna, do you think this is gonna work for us? And our typical response might be no, but maybe, I don't know. Or no, because we tried this once and it didn't work. But with yes and what we're doing is we're focusing on a mindset shift. So we're taking it from the no and giving it a possibility. So an example might be a project at work shifts last minute, and instead of thinking this won't work, try yes, this is unexpected, and we can adjust our approach. A personal goal doesn't go as planned, so instead of I failed, we can try yes, this was a step back, and I can use it as a learning opportunity. This method is really, really good at helping us train our minds to be open to possibilities rather than getting stuck on obstacles. And like you said, it sounds a little weird when you first learn about it, especially if you think that it comes from improv. Typically, we associate that with comedy. And so I did want to share a quick video of two people practicing this method. This video is available to us through Creative Commons licensing in YouTube. Again, before we really get into this, we do not claim ownership of this material. We are not benefiting from use of this material. And any thoughts, opinions, views, words used or expressed by the creators of this video do not necessarily reflect the same of the EAP. So without ado, here's a quick little video on what the yes and method can actually look like.
Hey everyone, I'm Alex Ford. This is Scott McPherson.
Hello, everyone.
We have known each other for a very long time, and Scott is going to help us with some improv. Scott, what you got for us today?
This game is called Yes And. It's a very simple game. We're meant to work on the fundamentals of improv. It's not really meant for a show, but you could use it in a show depending on the situation. But basically how this game works, I'm going to divide the class into two groups, okay? So there's two of us, and we will get into a line, basically a column of people, so we'd all be, in the line together. Each of us have a partner. What's going to happen is, let's say I'm the A side, you're the B side, okay?
Always.
A side is going to start. They're going to give the B side a prompt. For instance, let's go on a treasure hunt, okay?
Okay.
Now, the person in the B line is going to accept the information by saying yes.
Got it.
And then they're going to respond with an and. Now, this is going to add information to the original person's idea. That way, the person accepts it, and then now there's a new information to go on and build the scene larger, okay? So, for instance, I want to go on a treasure hunt.
Yes, and I brought the periscope.
So the point of this game is, you never want to say no to your partner's idea. And for instance, want to go on a treasure hunt?
No.
Boring. The scene's over and there's nowhere else to go. And also, by adding the word and, when you and information, and I have brought the periscope, you invent a whole new world of where you can go. And you also support your partner's idea, and then you build that foundation. And if each one of us are supporting the other, we're going to build a much better story than just, if we just never add information to the story.
Right. So if I had just said yes, then the pressure is still on Scott to keep going. He had a great idea. Let's go on a treasure hunt. And I go, yeah, I'm now the complete follower, and he is taking over. He may not be ready for that give and take.
Now, this game is easy for the prompter to start asking questions. Do you love me? Do you want to go to the park? Which is fine, but the questions need to have information in them. Remember what Mother said last night?
Yes, she said that I was her favorite son.
Excellent. See, that adds a dynamic to us. It adds relationship and it adds information. So it's okay to ask questions as long as they're done in the right manner. Okay? So we're going to play yes and. It's not a very long game. Basically, I'll start, Alex will respond, and we'll do this 5 times to simulate more than one person, okay? And then we'll switch, and then you'll prompt, and I'll just say yes and.
Quick clarifying question.
Yes.
So if we're going to keep going, even if there were people in the line, are we going to keep the same story going, or are we going to change every
That's
time?
a great question. It's going to be a different each time, each story. So as soon as Alex and I have our exchange, we're going to go to the back of the line, okay? And then there'll be 2 new people at the front, and they will have a totally new scenario, okay? Do you like this fried chicken?
Yes, and it goes well with my fried allergy medicine.
Excellent. So it's a perfect example. So again, that's a great question. New story, and there's very quick. Don't dwell on this very long. There's no need to make up forever. So just don't think about it too much, and then let your partner say yes, and then respond to that information. Okay. So for instance, we'll do this 5 times, and we'll switch. Okay. I found this old buried treasure.
Yes, and I found the shovels.
Excellent. So now we're gonna go. Cool. Go back to the line. New people. I found Grandma's wig.
Yes, and I found Grandma.
Doctor, the results are in. They're very scary.
Ah, yes, I think they're scary too.
All right, we got 2 more times.
All right.
Son, I'm giving you this inheritance. Don't use it wisely.
Yes, I think I'll invest in Blockbuster.
They won't get that joke. That's okay.
I think I'll invest in Vine.
They won't. TikTok. There you go.
Well, but that's still
Oh,
going.
okay, I see. All right, last one. Your shoes are made of garbage.
Yes, and they need to be taken out.
Very good. So as you can see, it's very quick. It's very silly. There doesn't need to be a whole lot of information given as long as the scene progresses, okay? So now we're going to switch. It'd be the B turns. The B
turns.
The B line would start, and I would respond, okay? So B starts, and then A's would respond with a yes and.
I found the best toilet in the world.
Yes! Show me where it is so I can use it right now.
I don't know why I keep wanting to... Man, this line for groceries is forever long.
Yeah, so I'm gonna crop dust it.
Ooh. Sir, I found the beard trimmer you were looking for.
Yes, I've been needing this for my wedding. Yeah.
Dum, 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 dum. Again, I can't help but not go to the back of the line. I'm like trained to go to the back of the line. Okay. Mr. Dentist, do you think my teeth are the best teeth you've ever seen?
Yeah, so I'm gonna steal them for later.
No! One more?
Last one.
Last one. I think that I have your glasses.
Yes, and now I have yours. All right, so as you can see, that's yes and. It's very simple. It's just responding to information with a positive attitude. Yes, I will take this information, and then I'll help you by building onto it. That's pretty much all it is to it, to yes and.
Yeah, so discuss how you think yes and fits with every form of improv, right? No shuts something down, yes and nothing else leaves it on the partner, right? And then yes and means that we are making something. And how much easier, more fun is it when I have an idea and you completely take it and change it, and then I get another idea.
Improv is a constantly moving thing. It's a living thing it's a living theater, right? It's constantly being changed and formed, and that's what makes it fun. It makes it more fun to watch something that's not static. You know, you want to see people building off each other's ideas, having fun with each other's ideas, and so on and so forth. So that's yes and. Hope you guys enjoy playing that.
Yep. Okay, so thanks for watching that video. Like I said, it was a great example of how yes and works. And what I really love about it is at the end, how they explain it, that, of course, saying no shuts down the conversation. Yes can kind of be, it's kind of ambiguous, especially if someone else is involved, you put pressure back on them. But saying yes and allows us to explore other options. And that can, of course, be used as they were showing it in their comedic setting, but it can also be used at an individual level when we're faced with something. Instead of immediately saying or thinking no to ourselves, saying yes, and this is how we can do that. So, looking at an exercise here for cognitive shifting, this is the ability to reframe challenges and see alternative solutions. And we break it down into 3 steps. So, first, we start by identifying a rigid thought, something like, I'll never be good at this. Then we challenge the thought. Ask yourself, is this 100% true? Have I learned new skills before? And then reframing it to a growth mindset. So, something like, I'm still learning, and with practice, I'll improve. So, thinking about a recent frustration or challenge that you may have experienced, write it down and apply this technique. So, how can you frame that challenge into reframing it into a growth-oriented response? So, identify the rigid thought, challenge the thought, and then shift it by reframing it to show growth. So, again, I'll never be good at this. Asking ourselves, is this 100% true? Or have I learned new skills before? And then reframing it. So, an example of, I'm still learning, and with practice, I will improve. And to keep our learning going on, mental flexibility isn't just a personal skill. This is a skill that is essential for leadership, for teamwork, and for problem solving. So let's take a moment to look at a real world example. And this is called the pilot case study. So a commercial airline pilot faced a technical failure mid-flight. And instead of panicking, they assessed the situation logically rather than reacting emotionally. They collaborated with their co-pilots in air traffic control for alternative solutions, and then they adapted to changing conditions to ensure a safe landing. This is a really great example of mental flexibility in action, the ability to stay calm, to be adaptable, and be solution focused under pressure. So again, a moment of reflection. Think of a recent situation where adaptability helped you, or maybe a situation where you could have been a bit more flexible. Think about how you might approach it differently next time. So we're getting close to the end of our time together today, but there's a few things that I want you to take away from this. The first being that rigid thinking makes challenges harder. Learn to challenge it. Adaptability leads to better problem solving because the more flexible we are, the easier we navigate uncertainty. And mental flexibility is a skill. The more we practice, the stronger it becomes. And so, as always, I'm going to leave you with a challenge for the next week. Try to think of one mental flexibility technique that you think you can do and apply it in your daily life. So maybe it's challenging your rigid thoughts or practicing yes and, or even changing your perspective when things don't go as planned. You know, think about one thing you can implement, try it out for a week, and then reflect on how well that worked for you. And then, of course, always remember that small shifts lead to big results. So, again, thank you for joining us today. We will be back in April with new Wellness Wednesdays. Again, we are the Washington State EAP, and if you're curious about what we do, our contact information is there on the slide, or you can always reach out to us on our website at eap.wa.gov. Thank you.